This Daf Yerushalmi Shevi'is in the article for the edition we're on Daf Yutezayim Rav, 4 lines to the top, Tan Rav Duo, which is 3 lines to the bottom, Hammer Bays in the Vilna, and there's still a war going on in Eretz Yisrael. So the schus of our learning, Yerushalmi, should be a schus for the Yoshua Eretz Yisrael in their war against the forces of evil. Yamach Shmom Zichram. So Tan Rav Din Mar Chayfa. A few laws so kula katzing more leaf near Rosh Hashanah. Even the pods not fully formed before Rosh Hashanah. Zaro misasa l'shabar. The zera, if you go, if it gets meiser, it's meiser goes going to the previous year, going to Ashrasha or Arba Shlish, depending who you hold like. V'yarko misasa b'shasli kidasa. So the pods themselves get meiser as the time they're collected, which is the following year. Rabbi Yasser said, he says that this case where some of the pods are formed of Rosh Hashanah, it's talking about a case where you deliberately initially planted for zera, because then even if you didn't curtail 3 rounds of watering from it, everybody agrees that the machsheva zara takes effect. So therefore, the since it was maybe Shish Machsheba Zera, and you have to do the Zeraima based on the previous year. Havli may be a Shlish Rishon Machsheba's Yerek, but the first third we're doing with the thought of Yerek, and which Korva Kaminoki points out, it means that you started actually watering it, did not curtail its water, which indicated you're clearly doing it for the purpose of vegetables. Efshar Lomar, can you possibly say Zara Misasa Shavar that the Zera is Maisa according to the previous year, Biyaku Misasa Bishasa Yutosa Isuro, and the era goes after the time when you gather it? The Tamar, and yet also, would you say, well, actually, here, here's the Gemara is different than Kagris Kapanoki. Instead of a Samar, it has here, but Atamart Sover is Gora Latocha Venisa Misaser Mizaro Al Yarko Umizaro Al Umiyarko Al Zaro. So the you can't say that. You say rather that because in this case you say that it's but the zera is butter, and it's just leyerik, and it only goes b'sar rikita, right? In this case, where it was never planned for the purpose of zera, there is no silver going to the because you go after, you don't go after the vashlish, don't go after certainly don't go after ashrasha, you go after the kita also. So therefore, there's no silver going to tocho, and everything is going to go after the time of the kita. Okay, Tanya. Now here in the My Gemara, the Gemara doesn't say Tanya, but in my Gemara initially I made many changes based on Shai Torah Eretz Yisrael, and then I wrote on the top that Shuvur Isi Achlei Kechlosa Kol Ein Tzorech L'Takin. You don't have to fix anything. Haklavir Saketa B'Sof L'Tchias Hasugi, but to put the part at the end at the beginning of the sugya. So let's see which part I was referring to here. I don't know yet. Let's see. So even whether it says tiny or not, Zara Lazera Lifnei Rosh Hashanah. You planted for Zara Lifnei Rosh Hashanah before Rosh Hashanah Shemitah. Menichnas Shvi'is, and Shvi'is came in. Bein Zara Ben Yarko Mutter. So the whole thing was for Zera, so therefore even the Yerek is Mutter because you planted it for the Zera. So the Yerek is butter to the Zera in that case. But Zara Yerek Lifnei Rosh Hashanah Shvi'is, we had planted for a vegetable. for Sharav Shemitah, B'nechas Shevi'is. Then Shevi'is comes in, so it's the opposite. Bein Zara Ben Yarko Aser. It's also where they're both Aser because the Zara is brought to the Yerek. And that's the Yerek is the Shasli Kita, and that's during Shemitah. Zora lezera uli yerek b'nei Rosh Hashanah. You planted it for a zera and yerek before Rosh Hashanah shel Shvi'is. Nichnas na Shvi'is, and now Shvi'is began. Pshita de zara mutter. So the zera is mutter because the zera we go either after Rosh Hashanah or Shlish. That's mutter, and it's not Shemitah. Yarkomai. What about the yerek? Because you plant also for yerek. Yerek is normally b'sar lekita. Tani Rabbi Chaya, so aser. Chaya says taka aser because of Shemitah. Tani Rabbi Chalafta ben Shol mutter. The Chalafta and Shol said it's mutter. Madamar mutter dvar Torah. So the Gemara says an interesting thing. It says that which is we wanted to say it is mutter, or that which I shouldn't say we wanted to say. That's why we Chalafta ben Shol is talking about midoraisa, and how would it possibly be? So the Kavanaki says it's talking about when you refrained from giving it water. So if you refrain from giving it water, it seems that you change your perspective. In other words, you monad from mine, so then it becomes planted zera. But midrabban, it's not going to work because of Marasign. Because people won't realize that, and especially because you initially planted it, saying it's for Yerek, right? So Mandamar Osir Mipnei Maris Ein. It's also because of Maris Ein because it's not really Maris Ein because I know it looks the same anyway. But the assumption that initially was planted for Yerek, that people don't realize that fell off. Afterwards, they don't necessarily see that you were curtailed its water. So the Gemara asks, if Maris Ein is a problem, Rabbi Simon Barzal the boy come Rabbi Yossi, Afilu lachilos behemto. Yeah, awesome name Maris Ein. You shouldn't be allowed to give pula mitzri to your animal. Why? Because anything which is royal machal adam, you're not allowed to give to make machal behema during Shemitah. You're not allowed to downgrade it. So if that's the case, how can you ever possibly give pul, which is machal adam, to an animal? Even if you had that in mind to begin with, that you're probably planning for a machal behema. It's Maris Ein. Everybody thinks it's human food. How can you do it? So the Gemara says, no, you're right. You're right. Not only that, you can't give it to the animal. You can't give it to your to your son or to your shliach, and this means that you can't gather a lot of it at one time, which looks like you're harvesting, and I guess that also is a form of a marisign. And that will be coming up. I think it's coming up. Yeah, it's coming up that you're not supposed to gather a lot at once. So you locate al ha'uman, and you shouldn't be able to gather row by row, which by an order, which is also looks like harvesting. So enechnami, we give it all the chumrah shvius of Marasayin. Amar Rabbi Yossi Baribun, Rabbi Yossi Baribun said, im nekra hagume, if the uman, by the way, is a row. If the branch you're collecting, the branch which you're collecting all its vegetables broke and was uprooted, so now it doesn't look like you're actually making a clean sweep of the field because it broke. You didn't actually harvest it. So then that's okay. It's a bit strange, but that's what it seems to be saying. also has Nima, but he just translates Nima as Shura. That doesn't seem like what the grub means. Well, Nekor Shura would mean very similar to what we just said. If there's some way in which it was already uprooted and it doesn't look like you're clean harvesting it, that's okay. There's no matter sign. But that's not what the grub is saying. What is it to Nima? You mean saying that doesn't look like, no longer looks like you're planting for the vegetable. Va'afikum are usher. Even according to the opinion which holds that it is it's usher, but there's an issue of there is an issue of Marisain. Yerek. If you were gathering seeds, and again, this is about where you did it for the purpose of seeds, and there's yerek inside. You have to come across something which is yerek. It's mutter, because even though evidently, again, I don't know, it's nekra and nima is what makes it look like seeds, but once it's clear that you're gathering for seeds, and therefore you planted it for seeds. So therefore, if you find a little bit of vegetables in there, you don't have to be chayshish marasayin, because everybody knows you're planting it. It was planted for the purpose of seed. So again, there must be some way in which you can tell that when it's planted for seed, that's what you're doing. It's planted, then it'd be okay. There wouldn't be any issue marasayin. Kadabarnash. Now, this is like the case where a person time Esther missing the lubi ma'aser. This is going back on what the marasayin is. You shouldn't harvest a lot at once. So this guy who came carrying 10 uh, um, uh, measures of it says here agudos bundles of lubi. Lubi is Libyan. Pula mitzri, evidently interchangeably called Libyan pool. Meiser le Rabbi Yirmiyah. Master, sorry. No, Meiser, it says here. He brought 10 bundles of Pula Mitzri as Meiser Rabbi Yirmiyah. Amar Le, so he said, Lo Tavukain. Don't do this. Um, and he brought them during Shemitah, but it was planted mishum zera, so that's why he had to give meiser. He said, don't do it again. Bring a lot of it. Lo tikot el tzorch delipsa. You should only gather how much you need for the purpose of a pot, and so that means that when you harvest during Shemitah, you should do little by little, and it shouldn't look like a massive mass harvest. And there he's telling them, even though it's true, you planted it with zera, and there's no kedusha shvis, that's being very meiser, but you should have uprooted it. You should not bring a lot at once, because then people say, well, they don't know it's zera. For the purpose of it's shmita, and that is the problem with maris ayin of shmita. Now, what I said at the beginning that from my Gemara that you have to move what's later on to the front. I think I was referring to this, which is really seems to be a continuation of the beginning of the brisa. Zar liyark lifnei shema Rosh Hashanah Shemis. You plant it for vegetables for Rosh Hashanah of the 8th year. B'nichas Shemis, and the 8th year came in. Bein zara ben yarko mutter, because it's called zara likitaso, and the zara is batel to the yark. Zara liyark lifnei Rosh Hashanah Shemis, but you planted for zara and yark for Rosh Hashanah 8th year. B'nichas Sheminis, and the 8th year came in. Zara aser. The zara is aser, that's for sure. But yarko mutter. The yarek is mutter. The yeah, because it's planned for both, right? Zara and the Yerek is from the 8th year. Now, I don't think you're allowed to plant it. I think, yeah, the Pnei Moshe says going to Avar V'Zar B'Shvis. Okay, and I haven't, we didn't continue. They banned the whole thing. See, it's a very long Ras video here. But, wow. Well, we'll just assume that whatever he says, it's not going to change our basic shot, and we will stop here as we reach the Mishnah in Yuzayim.